I wanted to do a speech on time and how we track it. I wanted to do a speech on time and how we're connected. Without looking at your cell phones right now, how many of you could actually tell me what time it is right now? I'll wait.
Check your hand.
But we got lucky.
Think about it. Time is arguably our most finite of resources. We're creatures of habit. We track time for work. We track time for play and all things in between. We even track time for our meetings here at Toastmasters. So with all of life based on where you need to be or where you want to be, why doesn't everyone wear a watch? Think about that. I have a theory, an observation about our culture and the way we operate. I've heard it all. I really have. I've heard people say, Terrence, I don't like to wear a watch. It feels cumbersome. It feels like I'm being handcuffed. I have other people say, I wear a watch during the work week, but not on the weekends. According to one watch wearer, taking off a watch symbolizes being done with the pressure-filled environment and the commitments of the day and settling into a pace where time constraints don't matter as much. Now, as for myself, I'm a unique case. I bring a watch everywhere with me. I bring a watch with me every day to work. I bring a watch with me every time I go to work out. All of my social gatherings at my favorite local watering hole, you name it. I would feel exposed if I didn't have a watch, to be honest. My 7-year-old became obsessed with knowing what time it was. So I started making her wear a watch. Mainly because she was driving me nuts asking me every 20 minutes what time it is, especially on the weekends. Now, I've noticed something about some adults, some, that don't wear a watch. Now keep in mind, we're not talking toddlers. We're not talking teenagers. Able-bodied grown folks here. The main people I've noticed that don't wear a watch are the exact same people asking those who wear a watch what time it is. One of my best friends refuses to wear a watch, gets indignant at the idea of wearing a watch. And what does he say every time he comes to visit? Hey, Terrence, real quick, what time is it? Surely this obsession did not begin in the year 2012. In the late 1800s, men were wearing pocket watches, much like we see here. The wristwatch was introduced around the First World War and was a very popular item for women of that day. According to historian James Hoopes, the obsession with synchronization took hold in the railroad era. And that's why you see a lot of watches from that era in the pocket. Synchronization is merely timekeeping. It requires the coordination of events to operate a system in unison, much like a conductor for an orchestra, keeping them in sync. Connection. We are always connected. Personally, professionally. We should be more mindful of that because we work for a Fortune 1000 company. We have to be aware of the impact of things happening 2 and 3 time zones away. Think about the people you're connected to. Family, friends, businesses. They're not necessarily here in Bloomington Normal. The world is much, much bigger than our backyard. You have relevant connections, whether they are in India, Indiana, California, China. Timing is everything. In summation, we as a culture remain obsessed with time, whether we want to admit it or not. For a part of a culture that swears it does everything that it does not need a watch anymore. It certainly relies a lot on folks that do wear one. Everyone has somewhere to be, or at least somewhere they'd rather be soon. So it's only a matter of, would you look at that? Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. We'll take a minute and write Terrence a note.
Here's the fancy note.
You can't stop it.
Just hit the top button.
One for